Hey everyone, it's Josh Deshay with Leadership Lighthouse. Today I want to talk about resurrecting your career after major failure. There are a lot of leaders out there right now who are struggling, licking their wounds, trying to figure out how to pick up the broken pieces of a career that they thought was gone because of failure. So we're going to talk about 5 ways to resurrect your career. Now, before we get started, I'm going to tell you, I come to you with this topic with a lot of personal experience. It's just part of the game. I think we need to realize that, right? And so remember, before we get started, just because you fail doesn't mean you're a failure. Just because you screwed up, did something wrong, didn't achieve your objectives, doesn't mean that you're a failure as a leader. It means that you failed. And so I want to make sure that we say that up front, that if you failed, welcome to the frickin' club.
Wow.
I failed a lot. Many times it was my own doing. Sometimes it wasn't, but many times it was. That's going to be one of our points, by the way. Let's go ahead and get started. Point number 1 is to reflect on your goals and your passions. Do you know what your goals are now, moving forward in your career as a leader? After that failure, you may not know. You may be struggling with what to do and how to do it, and should I change my goals, and should I have different goals, and should I talk to someone? Should I get with a coach? Make sure that your goals are aligned with who you are now. And secondly, on the passion, make sure you still have a passion for leadership. If this is all about you, and it's always been about you, then you're not a leader. And that's okay. We're not all called to be leaders. But in order to be a great leader, you've got to have a passion for people other than you. So, is your passion aligned with your willingness and desire to be a leader? Are you willing to give up credit and take blame? Are you willing to take proverbial bullets for your employees and those people that you're leading? If not, maybe this is not the right thing for you. Maybe you need to be starting at a different point. But you need to be reassessing and realigning on goals and passion. The second point, you need to eliminate those things that don't serve you any longer. So now that you've looked at your goals and your passions, what are those goals and passions you had before that aren't relevant now? What are the things that you cared about a lot in the past that now just don't seem like they fit or matter? You need to go through and write them all down and do your best to eliminate those things that don't make sense for who you are today. A leader who is looking for something new, trying to resurrect your career. We all have them. As a matter of fact, if you're not doing this on a consistent basis anyway, you probably should think about it. Eliminate those things that don't serve you and your purpose and your mission and your passion. Number 3, this is going to be the hardest one, I think, and I debated whether or not we should put it at number 1 or number 5, but it's learn to humble yourself. Right now, if you failed and you're looking to resurrect your career, you're in a humbled state. You're probably a little bit down on yourself. You don't know whether or not this is for you. Those are okay to think. But remember, the best leaders are humble servant individuals, people who serve others, who are willing to put themselves aside for the greater good of their team. You need to learn to humble yourself if you haven't already. And when I say humble yourself, not only become a humble servant, and I'm not talking about fake humbleness, I'm talking about real, internal humbleness. Are you doing this for the right reasons? Are you doing this because you want to take care of other people? That's what a leader is. And if you don't have that humbleness of heart, you're going to struggle at some point to get people to trust you. During difficult times, people will not follow you. Also, from a humbleness standpoint, it also means pointing out those times when you failed. That's one of the hardest things for people to do. And it's one of the things that sets great leaders apart from other people. Their willingness to take and accept fault. There was a time, probably now 7 years ago, I was a leader of this organization out of state. I was in Portland, Oregon. And if you look back at that time, and you look at what they did before I got there and where they were when I left, from a revenue standpoint, they were doing much better. But as a leader, I failed. And I see myself failing in that. I failed. And I acknowledge that. Some people will look at that and say, man, it was a success. You raised revenues by 200-300%. But you know what? I had to fire and let go our top salesperson for doing the wrong things. As a leader, I could have seen those things ahead of time and done something about it because there were signs. I also didn't, from an operational standpoint, fine-tune our processes to a point that made us more sound and structurally fit the way that our CFO wanted. I left some things back and I continued with some things. And some of the things that I continued with were good, but a couple of them weren't that great. And I didn't see that ahead of time. And that's on me as a leader. And I had to learn that. I've had to learn that humbleness and how to do it. You've got to be a humble leader. And if you don't humble yourself, and if you're not a humble leader, then you're going to really struggle with resurrecting your career. Number 4, you've got to expand your skills and your knowledge base. As a leader, we're always asking people to better themselves and to educate themselves and to work on improvement and grow themselves. And if we're not doing that as well, we're failing our people. And so you need to learn new skills, educate yourself, get better at things, spend time improving things that you know you struggle with. Get with people that you've worked with before and ask them, what are 3 things that I could be better at, that I could improve upon? And then take those things and actually improve upon them. Get better. When we skill ourselves up, when we improve, when we educate ourselves and grow, we're able to be better for the people that we're serving. Not only that, but we're practicing what we preach. That's important as a leader. Lastly, and I think it's the most important one, take everything that you've just done, all of these steps, take action and make change. Put yourself, I like to write things down. Write down who you were during this last failure. Write it all down and be very honest with yourself. And then write down the person that you need to be and want to be. Take these steps and these things that you're doing in terms of humbleness and humbling yourself, in terms of leveling up and educating yourself. Put all those things over here, and now you have a blueprint for the leader that you know you need to be, and then take action to become that person. Leadership, I say it all the time, leadership is hard. It's not easy. It's not for everybody. But if you really believe in your heart that leadership is for you, then you owe it to yourself and to the people in the future that you will be leading to success to do this now. Resurrect that career. You have that passion, that drive, the goals still remain the same. Resurrect that career. Do better, be better, humble yourself, take action and make that change. I promise if you do this, here over the next 4 to 6 weeks, you will be a better leader, and the organization that gets you will be getting a much better version of yourself. Let me know what you think below. Comment. Tell me about a time that you've struggled. Tell me about a time that you've had to resurrect your career. If you're in the middle of a resurrection, I'd love to know how it's going. Talk to you soon. See ya.